Morning, afternoon. How's everybody doing? If you didn't catch the show last night on Triple F Friday, Foolish Finance Fridays, we did a show last night. Talked about a lot of topics. Um, got into some petty tea. Also talked about some image, and I kind of want to piggyback off of that this morning. For those that are here, drop your city and state when you get in. Those that are watching the replay, also drop your city and state, um, and let us know your thoughts. So last night, we talked about the morning. See, we talked about last night. We talked about your image, right? And so I kind of want to give you a different perspective of of image and class. So let's take a different approach. I gave you my thought process, right? I gave you my thought process last night. But because we have AI, let's look at what does image mean from what how is image defined from Chat GPT? Let me cut and paste this because I can't really blow it up in there. I'm gonna cut and paste this and put this in a Word document. Let me get that over here and blow up this Word document. And why am I talking about this? And I'll tell you about it in 1 second as to why I am talking about it. All right, let's make this bigger. Let's move up to size 28 on the font. That looks good. That look like something that you can see. Let's bring my screen up and let's do this one. All right. So, what does image mean? This is me saying what is image, and this is I typed this in the Chat GPT. Congratulations, you survived Cinco de Mayo. Cool, Lolita, you're in Sleepy Hollow, New York. I'm not sure where that's at. I'm not. Is that up north or is that like in a borough somewhere? I'm not really sure. And congratulations, Miss Phoenix, to becoming 11 months of a 300K earner. We have something special coming up for you earners. Really something special. Um, I'll just say it this way. It's about it is related to today's topic about image and how to make money. I just put it together. I just say it that way. I say it that way. All right. Image can refer to a visual representation or depiction of something, whether it be a physical object, a person, a concept, or an idea. Image can take many forms, including photographs, illustrations, paintings, diagrams, and graphs. This is what I pulled from Chat GPT. I just pulled this from Chat GPT. In addition to visual meaning, image can also refer to general impression or perception that people have of someone or something, often based on a combination of physical appearance, behavior, and other factors. For example, a person's image may be influenced by their clothing, hairstyle, mannerisms, overall demeanor. Image can also be used to can also be used in a more abstract sense to describe the person's reputation or perception that a person, organization, or brand has in the eyes of others. This can be shaped by factors such as past behavior, public statements, media coverage, and advertising. Overall image is a multifaceted concept that encompasses the visual representation, perception, and reputation. It can have significant implications for how individuals and organizations are perceived and evaluated by others, and can influence a range of outcomes from personal relationships to business success. 40 miles from New York. Okay, cool. All right, so I brought image up for a couple of reasons. Drop in the chat what you think women in Linux image is to you. Drop in the chat what you think women in Linux image is to you. After you do that, what do you think about your own image? When people look at you, or when you look at yourself, basically when you look at yourself, what image or what words come to mind when you look at yourself? It's about a bit of a self reflection, and I'll dive more into this as we continue. Right? What image do you think women in Linux is to you? What is our image? And then what is the image that you see of yourself? What are the words that evoke about yourself? Right? I'll leave that right there for a minute. I'll leave that right there for a minute. Because I want to do these things here. Let's do this. Now, I saw this video yesterday, and I think Black Hikes is talking about it this morning. But we're going to get into it. All right. So, Cam Newton came out and said one of the reasons why he thinks he's not in the NFL right now is because of his dreads. Right? Okay. Go with that for right now. Go with that for right now. Go with that for right now. And I want to pull a video up from yesterday. I don't want to play the video. I just want to grab some visuals from the video. All right, here we go. Right here. All right. Let me get him when his mouth not open. Right here. All right. So Cam Newton said that his dreads kept him out. So here, this young fellow, I talked about this last night, um was in was on Anton Daniels show. And you know, if you ever listen to Anton, one of the first things he says is he asked him, which I knew he was. He's 26. He's married, has a 7 month old. He asked him, "What's going on with your hair?" All right, cool. Let's go here. Right. So the young guy says, "Why I got to cut my hair? Jay Z don't have his haircut." Cam Newton says, um, he feel like he was blackballed, and he feel like part of that is his hair. Let's talk about these three different situations. He's 26, just got married, works as a concierge. And then we can talk about Cam Newton and Jay Z. All right, give you my take on that. After I just gave you a definition of image, just gave you this definition of image. Image can refer to a visual representation or depiction of something, whether it be a physical object, a person, a concept, or idea. Images can take many forms, including photographs, illustrations, paintings, diagrams, and graphs. In addition to its visual meaning, image can also refer to general impression or perception that people have of someone or something, often based on a combination of physical appearance, behavior, other factors. For example, a person's image may be influenced by their clothing, hairstyle, mannerisms, and overall demeanor. Image can also be used in a more abstract sense to describe a person's reputation or perception that a organization or brand has in the eyes of others. I asked you, what is the image you have of women in Linux? Let's read the chats and see what we got here from the chat. All right. From the chat, we got Smart Money Chick TV says smart women skilling up to get the bag, get the lights up. No one cares about his dreads. Cam is old and slow and an inaccurate passer. That's why he's not in the league. C. Jones says, intelligent, forward-thinking women, skilling up, skilled for opportunities most don't know exist. All right. So those are what we got so far. Let me tell you what I think of women in Linux, and this is probably my fault for not conveying that. What I think about women in Linux is correct, is intelligent, forward thinking, but I also like to also think we also like to make sure we tell you exactly where the movement is at, and maybe this is wrapped up in there, where movement is at in terms of your skill sets and investing, and also forward thinking on different ways to invest and bringing people to you that are actually doing those things, right? So cool. All right. So so then the other one is I have Weather says I have locks, really long ones, and no one has said anything negative. Great. So now let's talk about this. Cool. All right. So this young man here, he's 26 and he's growing freeform dreads. And he said he doesn't feel the need to cut his hair. We have Cam Newton here, who has freeform dreads and has been in the league. And if you get where I'm going, you understand. And then we have Jay-Z here, who has freeform dreads. Three totally distinctive, different male figures, right? All right. The first one, he's just starting out. He's a concierge. He doesn't have he hasn't honed in on his skill set. He said he was making beats. He hasn't honed in on his skill set. He still has to go figure out who he is and who he's going to work for with his skill sets and who's going to be okay with him, right? Cam Newton says, "Hey, I got blackballed this, that, and other because of my dreads." And let's back up. Cam has already been in the league. Cam has already made his money. Cam has already did what he was supposed to do. So if Cam don't work another day, he already got millions to do whatever he want to do, right? He can get endorsements on his podcast. He can get endorsements off of somebody that wants to have their locks that has a lock brand. He already has that, right? We go look at Jay Z. Jay Z didn't start out with dreads when he got started. When Jay Z got started, Jay Z had his haircut. He always had him a nice little tight little fade or Caesar, all right, little Caesar with the deep waves. You know, he had his Caesar with the deep waves, his earrings, all right. So the this is what I'm saying, and people can chop me up if you want to, because it is it's a timeline of things that do happen here. Will somebody hire him? Yes. Would somebody hire this 26-year old? Yes. Will he get where he needs to go and get the maximum amount of money he probably wants to make? Probably not. I'm just gonna be honest. Cam, he don't need to go back to the NFL. He can do podcasts. He can go show up on other people's stuff. He can start him a little league football team. He could do quarterbacking. He could write a book. He could talk about how to get to the NFL. He could do all of that. He's already established. Trust me, he's already played the game, is what I'm saying. Jay Z, he played the game too. Don't get it twisted like he didn't play the game. Don't get it twisted like he didn't have to conform at some point. in order to get to where he needed to go. Trust me, he did. And you can hear it in his music. You can hear it when he's talking to whenever he talks about Dame. But at some point in time, he learned like I don't need to do all those other things that they say I need to do. I can figure out another way to do it because again, my skill set is going to allow me to make the money to do what I need to do to be in those rooms. Which brings me back forward to what I'm saying to you all. Your skill set, how you present yourself in interviews, who you are is going to win you your money. I talked about this yesterday when I keep saying this, 100,000 for 10 years, 200,000 for 10 years, 300,000 for 10 years, 400,000 for 10 years. Your skill set is going to have to get you there, right? Right? People are, let's be clear. People going to look at you, they're going to either say they cool with you or they not. It's just bottom line. That's just how people are, right? Now, once you get in, you got to hustle up and utilize every resource, every asset, every time, every interview, everything that you can figure out how to do in that company. Hey, I want to sit in on the interview. Hey, I want to go here to this conference. Hey, I want to speak here. Hey, I want to represent X, Y, and Z. Hey, I want to do this. Brand yourself. I keep telling y'all, and I'm not going, I don't know how many different ways to say it. You are the brand. And I keep telling you that. You are the brand. You are the one that people look at as the obvious expert. They look at you as the obvious expert. They look at you for your skill set. They look at you for everything. So you got to figure out what that means. What does that mean? When somebody says your name, what does that mean? When you're not in the room and people are talking about you and you're not in the room, what does that mean? What level have you set up for people to say, hey, this is who this person is. We should go to that person. This is the obvious expert in this particular area, right? Engineering cannabis. Let me see. Let me scroll back up. Dion says, cut that little rug until you get established. Um, had to say freeform locks is a slippery slope. Cam has earned 135 million. Yeah, 135 million with 7 kids. He's got to figure out how to grow that money. That money needs to work for him and his children's children. He has to establish that. And he has established those kids as well too, so they can be established and have money as well for whatever children that they have. Right? Jay's had that low cut ready to hit the boardroom. Oh yeah, he had that low cut for forever. Yep, he played the game. Absolutely, Heather. He played the game. Don said when people realize you have to conform when you're in someone else's house. Yes. Thank you, Juan. Thank you. But all I'm simply trying to show you here is when you look at this, right? You see, he's 26. He's trying to get started. He's jumping at personally, my personal opinion. He's jumping ahead. Um, he's jumping ahead of the game, right? Here, it's another picture of him with his locks. They got another picture out there of his locks. Um, let me look at images. Yeah, this one. This the one they got up a cam right now. This the image they got up a cam right now, right? So they got this image up. He's aspiring to get to where they already put in time. That's the thing. See, people, y'all gotta stop trying to skip ahead, right? I get it. And let's put this in perspective, okay? And I said this to the other day. Um, what I'm teaching you right now and telling you what to do, how to move, and whatnot, it shouldn't take you 20 years to become a millionaire. It shouldn't. That's why I say 10 years. 10 years, millionaire, right? Especially if you start off at, if you work your way to 200, most of you probably going to start off around 100 to 180. That's still good, but you can still have that money working for you. I figure everybody's going to at least need a minimum of $100,000 to live off of, at a minimum. Just at a minimum. I don't care what nobody else talking about. I don't care nothing about no stats about how the average XYZ only makes 47,000. You not average. If you over here learning Linux and you over here talking about doing DevSecOps, if you over here talking about AI and machine learning, you're not average. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Sue me, you know, unfollow me, whatever the case is. You're not average. So we're not talking to the average person. The average person don't even know what Linux is, much less that it's not a programming language, right? So you're not average. So let's go and put that out. Now, you'll be like, well, Tameika, that's you being an elitism or you're getting into classism. Okay, maybe, but I got a definition pulled up for that too. All right. Next part of this is you got to understand that even though you are talking about making at a bare minimum having $100,000 for just I'm just saying at a bare minimum for the next 10 years, and you can slice this up how you want to. You can do 10 years or you can do 20 years. I'm saying 10. I'm saying 10. I'm saying 20 years that it took me to get to where I was at. I'm giving you what it could look like for you in less time, things that I've done, things that I've encountered, so you could be that millionaire or multimillionaire in 10 years, right? So basic baseline, $100,000 for the next 10 years, you gross a million, your net worth will be around about $500,000 or $600,000. Okay, cool. But if you can have that money work really, really working for you, right? And you really, really invest in yourself and your skill sets, 200,000 could be your next 10 years. Now you grossed 2 million, and now you're making, and now you put away a million, but even peak gain, you could put away much more. But just as a basic foundation, we talk about the basics all the time. Get your brokerage account, invest in the blue chip, keep it simple and safe if you want to, or you can be risky depending on your age. Find out what your risk tolerance is. Are you an aggressive? Are you a moderate? Whatever the case may be. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to come up with a budget. And I'm going to tell you now is to start shopping for a financial planner. Shop around so you can understand what questions they ask, what questions that they don't ask, things that you don't know. Do your research. I've given you all these things so you can have a solid foundation. Why do I keep telling you about having a solid foundation? Because when you have a solid foundation, when your money come in, it's just gonna go to this bucket, that bucket, that bucket, that bucket, and it's gonna be straight. Once you have that solid foundation and you got that built out, then you can say, okay, now I'm getting ready to move into, oh, I would like to be a part of a hedge fund, or I'd like to be part of a private equity fund. The reason why I keep telling you 200,000, because the 200,000 for 3 years, because you have had for 2 years and then that current year, so really 3 years. The reason why I tell you 200,000 is so you could be a part of a hedge fund, so you could be a part of a private equity fund, so you could be a part of of somebody's real estate fund or what have you, right? I'm going to Florida this week for a conference on building out hedge funds and real estate funds, and willing and dealing and making deals on, okay, look, they need 25,000 to invest, or they need this or they need that. Again, in order to even sit down at some of them tables to even talk about real estate fund or private investing, or somebody who's building their tattoo brand out, some of them require a minimum of 25, and some 25,000, and some require a minimum of 5 million. And we can no longer sit around and be sitting on the sideline talking about, well, it's only 8% of the people that make 100,000. Okay, cool. Change the numbers. I'm about changing the numbers. We're gonna change the numbers here. In our group, we changed numbers. I know for a fact that majority of the people that had came here and came through Women in Linux make a minimum of $100,000. Make a minimum of $100,000. And I'm not talking about they started out and then they made $100,000 5 years later. No, no, no. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about making them a minimum of 100,000, making them a minimum of 200,000. I showed you jobs last night where they were paying anywhere from 2 to 500,000. But we want to sit on the sidelines and we want to argue. Okay, image. Back to image. Right. We saw the progression here. Young fella trying to start out, not sure where he's at right now, trying to figure out life. Cam Newton, he played the game. He did the Auburn thing. He did the running. He did the combine. He went and got drafted. He went and earned his money. He got his endorsements. Jay-Z, same thing. He played the game, whatever he was doing before, he switched that up. He understood sitting at the table. He understood sitting at the board table. He understood how the deals were made. You know who another person that had to sit at the table, that had to go back to school, with Swiss Beats, had to go back to school, learn the game, learn how they're making more money off of you than you making off yourself. They make more money off of you than you make off yourself, right? Learning the game. So I'm simply saying to you is, don't get it twisted and think that because you're out here in tech or you're out here doing other things that people don't look at you, that they don't brand you, don't think they don't see an image of you, don't think they don't, they do. All right. So that's image. All right. So on my list of here, let me scroll back up. Let's talk about classism. Let's have a conversation about classism. All right, let's break this down right here. All right. All right, here we go. Classism. Let's put a page break in there. New comment. What's my little page break? There we go, right there. All right, classism. All right, classism is a form of discrimination that occurs when individuals are treated differently based on their social class or economic status. It refers to the belief that certain social classes are superior to others and that individuals in different classes should be treated differently or unequally. Classism can manifest in a variety of ways, including through prejudicial attitudes, discriminatory practices, and unequal access to resources and opportunities. Classism can be subtle or overt, intentional or unintentional. For example, someone may be discriminated against because of their accent, education level, or job title. Others may be denied opportunities for education, employment, or housing because of their social or economic status. Classism often intersects with other forms of discrimination such as racism, sexism, ageism. It can also perpetuate inequality and social stratification by reinforcing the idea that individuals in the lower classes are somehow less deserving or capable than those in higher classes. It is important to recognize that the challenge classism in all of its forms in order to create a more just or equitable society. Now, how many of you have experienced classism? How many of you think, let's back up, how many of you think classism exists in the US? And how many of you think exists and how many of you think that classism exists in tech? If you don't think classism exists in tech, let me help you. Let me show you how it exists. I'm gonna show you how it exists. Because you play the game anyway, whether you want to believe it or not. So you go in and you apply for a job. How many years of experience do you have? Oh, you got 2 to 3, maybe 4. Oh, you're entry level. Then you're senior. Then you are principal. Then you are distinguished. You don't think each one of them is just a form of classism? It is a form of classism. It's based on what? Your skill set, your skill set, based on your interview, based on you play the game. You're in it already. So get out of here with that. Your skill sets, your certifications is a form of classism, if you want to look at it. So when people say, like going back even further back to last night when we were talking about the whole thing with Ebony Williams, that she date the bus driver or whatever, and people got all up in arms about everything. It was a form of classism, but don't get it twisted. Everybody is in a certain class, whether we want to believe it or not. Whether we want to believe it or not. You don't think this? You don't think the different CEOs of different companies are in something in some type of form of classism? You don't think the startup CEO looking at Elon Musk is in a different type of class than what he is? You don't think that? You don't think the CEO that started out that's raising $250,000 is in a different class than what Elon Musk is? Let's put it this way: if Elon Musk and that new startup person walked into the bank and Elon was coming in asking for 1 million, and that other startup person was asking for 1 million, you don't think who you think they're gonna get 1 million to first? They're gonna give it to Elon. Not simply because of just Tesla and so forth and so on. It's because of the name. It is the image. It is the brand. He has imaged and branded himself. That's what I keep trying to tell you. Same way. Same way with that startup person. They have to focus on branding themselves. They have to focus on the skill sets. They have to focus on who represents the company. He has to focus on those things. And if you are out here thinking, walking around thinking that it don't exist, it exists, right? Classism. Everybody got all upset, right? Everybody got all upset. We're talking classism, we're talking tax brackets, we're talking about doors of opportunity, doors of opportunity, your network, the network that you build, the net worth that you build, all those things, all those things, it all exists. That's right. Get the lights up. Get the lights up. Andre the Gem said, "I'm not a millionaire, and I and I wouldn't date a bus driver." Preference. Preference. Everybody got their own preference. So here's what I'm saying to you is this: get your skill sets up, brand yourself, build your network. Understand that people are looking at you, your image is whatever you want your image to be. When somebody think about your name, when your name comes up in a conversation and you're not in the room, what are people saying about you? Are they saying you cool peoples? Okay, that's nice. They're saying you cool peoples, but nobody cares about being cool. We want to know, do you get shit done? Right? That's what we need. I'm just putting that out there. What is your image? And I didn't get what you thought about yourselves. What is the image? What is the image that you all think about yourself? Right? Be the solution. What is the image? What is the image? What is your brand when people think about you? What is that? What is that? When you step into a conversation, or do people think that you're well equipped with and not and have knowledge of the conversation? Do people think you're well versed in stuff? Are you universal? Are you one track? What is the image? What do people think about you? Ask your friends. Ask your mama. Ask your mama, ask your daddy, ask your cousin, ask the people that at a local store, like what image am I giving off to you? We do it every day. You walk into a grocery store, you look at people every single day. You like, oh, crusty feet. He couldn't. That person couldn't wipe the matter out there. Oh, that man stank. Hey, what is that image? What is it that you want people to see when they see you? What do they see? Right? What do they see? When you look at yourself, what do you see? Right. And last but not least, let's go a little further here. Let's talk about this right here. This young man right here. Why do I have this young man up on the screen? I have this young man up on the screen because I want to talk about, again, image. Now, here's the flip side to image. Now, this is the first one we talked about. When people look at you, what do they see? Now, let's talk about after you get hired, what happens. And we've seen this play out before. You get hired onto a company, you do your 9 to 5. What you do after you get off of work is your business, right? Yes and no. It's your business, but it's also their business too. We've seen that, right? We've seen that with the guy in the bird park in New York. A lady walked up to him. They flagged her down. She got fired from her job. She wasn't at work, but it was what the image of what she represented after work reflected on the company in which she worked for. Same thing with this young man right here. He would go to work, he'd fly everywhere, he'd come back, he'd be in his work shirt, he'd sit on and get on YouTube, part of the Manosphere Red Pill, he talk about stuff, and then people got a hold to him talking about it. Talking about it, sent it to his management. Management didn't like it. He got fired. It's just, again, now your image outside of work is also important. Your image outside of work is also important. Thank you for the $5 super chat. OPSEC in everyday life is underrated. Yep. Your image outside of work is important. You don't think they looking at what you're doing on social media? You don't think that they looking at what you post on LinkedIn? You don't think people are talking in X, Y, and Z? It's everything. You're always under a microscope. That's just what I want to tell you. You're always under a microscope. You're always under a microscope. You know what? You know when you're also under a microscope. Let me show you when you're under a microscope. You want to know when you're under a microscope? When you're trying to raise some money. Go in and try to get 5 million for somebody, or 2 million from somebody, or 100 million from somebody, or whatever. You don't think you under a microscope? They want to know everything. What's this person about? Where they from? Do a background check on who you're investing with. Do a make sure that person is on the up and up. Are they related to any type of scams? Or do they run in a circle of scammers? Do they run in a circle of scammers? Do they run in a circle on people who are predators? Like they try to get money from people. They're not necessarily scammers, but they scam me. As D like to say, they scam me, right? Do they run? Do they deliver on what they say they're gonna do? Right? Are they nice people? Are they personable? Is how does that person treat others? How does that person treat their wife? How does that person treat their children? Those things matter. People look at all those things. If you think they don't, you lying. You're lying to yourself. How you talk to people. There was the let me see if I can find it. Lunch. Interview treatment. Let's see. So there was a time, yeah, where they would take you to lunch on an interview, right? Your one of your interviews would be a lunch interview. And what they would do is one of the CEOs, it was another one. It was a CEO. It came out a few years ago. Well, one of the CEOs said was, if I take somebody out to lunch, and that person, I would have them purposely mess up the person's food, and depending on how that person responded to their food being up, would let me know the character of the person. So the person, it's like if the person started going off about their food, they know that's somebody they will want to work with. If the person was nice to the person, they were like, okay, cool. But if the person didn't say anything about their food being messed up, they said they would like, well, there's a person that's willing to just accept anything, and I don't want to work with that person either. So people were judging you based upon what you did at lunch, and people do this too to this day. They go to lunch and they judge you based on what you ordered to eat, how you, what your etiquette is at the table, how you talk to people who are serving your food, how you interact with everyone. Are you quiet? Do you eat with your mouth, with your mouth full of food? What does that look like? What's going on, Savage Scientist? So again, you are being in any situation. I'm telling you, especially women, you're under a microscope. Men, you're under a microscope. Women, I think you're probably more under a microscope intact than what men are. Just being honest. From I asked one of my investor friends. I asked Kiana. I did. I asked her. I said, "Do you think that men invest into companies um that you may be involved with based upon looks?" She's like, absolutely. People would look at you and invest based on your look, based on your hair, based on how you present. Absolutely. How you speak, yeah, all of that. So it all plays a role. Engineer Kim saying, men I saw that going to lunch, ordering the most expensive meal and clean the plate and finish off with an alcoholic cocktail, bad look. And here's the flip side of that. Going to lunch with your managers and so forth, and they're like, yeah, get anything you want to drink, this, that, and other. It's a slippery slope, right? It's a slippery slope, right? Because your manager might order a beer, and you're like, oh, do I order a beer or do I not? So if I'm out with my manager, what do you think I ordered? Would I order the beer, or would I get me a Sprite or some soda or tea or something like that? What do you think I ordered? Drop in the chat. What do you think I ordered? And what do you think I ordered in the chat? What do you think I ordered? Some water. I'm ordering something safe. Okay. Water. Safe. Tea or water. Nah, I ordered the beer. I ordered the beer. I ordered the beer. I'm gonna tell you why I ordered the beer. It all depends on the owners, right? I ordered the beer because once this how I feel about it. And it's my own personal take. Some people don't feel safe that way. Um, the most of the managers that I go out with, or owners of companies that I go out with, they gonna let the guard down, and they gonna cut loose. So I ordered a beer. I'm not a beer fan, but I'll order something like, oh, I'm not really a beer fan, so let's just play it safe and go with like a vodka and pineapple juice or something like that. Or if I get a beer, it's a Corona or something like that, right? Or I may not even be feeling the beer. I just want some water or some. I don't like to drink alcohol and eat food like that. I'm not a fan, so I would get a soda or something like that and whatnot. Now, here's why. I've been in situations where managers and owners of companies will actually get mad and be like, "You need to order a beer, like, like you got to break bread with me. I can't be the only one sitting here having a drink." And I'm like, "Well, it's other people in here that's having a drink, but I feel you." I said, "I have a drink." Well, thank you for having a drink with me. So it's sometimes you'll be in the situations like that, right? Sometimes you'll be in. Here's my rule of thumb: if you don't feel comfortable ordering a drink with them, order you a cranberry juice or something like that, right? Or if you feel comfortable with them, try not to get something that's gonna have you leaning over at the end of the night. That Yeah, don't do that. Jenna Jasmine said, at my last startup, there was beer on tap, and everyone started drinking at 4. And the CEO and the CFO would go to the bar next door almost daily and drink with us. Yep, yeah, people get upset when you don't drink with them. They do. But some people don't drink, so you just have to be clear like, "Hey, I just don't drink. So this is where I'm at. So what's up?" Right? We can still we can still communicate and have fun. And like D say, read the room, right? That's why I wanted to give y'all this morning was the the whole idea about the branding, the image, what it looks like for you after work, and so forth. When you're out here and you're asking people for $1 million for an investment or $2 million for an investment, you got to have your pitch decks together. You got to have your script together. You got to have all these things together because people looking at you like, give you give you a million for what? Give you a million for what? Ma'am, 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 we're not doing that, right? All right, so let's get into today's show. We in it, but I want to let's get into what I got set aside. All right, Gen Zers. Let's talk about y'all today. Gen Zers say, and this is what the article says. Let me scroll back down. Gen Zers say they need an average salary of almost $125,000 to feel like they made it. That's what Gen Zers say. Now, Gen Zers say 125. Y'all arguing about 47. I'm just trying to make sure make it make sense. Gen Zers say 125, and y'all arguing about 47. Make it make sense. Let me try it one more time. Gen Zers say 125. You arguing about 47,000. I don't understand. And according to the stat that I pulled up yesterday, we at the bottom at really at 35,000 per household, right? Gen Z is saying they're saying 125. Y'all like, oh, it's on the 1% of it's on the 8% of the people that make $100,000. Why can't y'all be cool with somebody making 47 and build up? I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, building. Yeah, okay. Yeah, build. Mm-hmm. Let me pull my thing up again. Mm-mm-mm. I ain't gonna play the video. I ain't gonna do y'all like that today. I ain't gonna do y'all like that today. All right. So here we are. Here we are, right down here. Yeah, 47 is why you're angry. Savage scientists ain't no put no time in. You should be past 125. You should be past 125. Gen Zers are saying 125. Free says it's a requirement that you drink in construction field. If you don't drink with them, they can't trust you. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So we down here at the bottom. Way in the water. Way in the water, sister. Way in the water. What was the song on the time? On the movie? Working on the chain gang. Get back. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Right? That's what we want. Oh, whoa, it's me. You know what this says? Let me tell you what this says. Let me tell you what this 35,000 says to me. I am going to be that white woman riding around to the cemetery to take the wash up. Let me get my bath on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get my bath on in the cemetery. Yeah. That's what that screams to me. Seven scientists, we gotta work with you. Get you out of that. We gotta get you out of that. You should be at 250. We gotta get you out of that. We gotta get you out of that. Nah, this ain't even fast money. I don't care what y'all talk about. You talking about fast money? I think tech is fast money. I think I think tech is fast money. I don't care what you say. I get a skill. I get an increase. I get a bigger payload. What? Psh, you better slang these bits like a binary hustler. I'm trying to tell you. You gotta slang these bits. What the dope man done sold me? Binary. Binary. That's what the dope man told me. Binary. You in the matrix. 36,000 is nasty. Yeah, I just want to. I'm gonna leave that up here. Oh no, binary. Fast money is legal on my end. Linux developed all day long. DevSecOps, cloud security, embedded edge computing, IoT, telcos, Kubernetes. Psh, yeah, that's what I'm doing. 7-Eleven, right? Slinging these bits and these bytes. What you doing today? Octo. Yes, I'm doing Octo. What you doing tomorrow? Chamadan, SE Linux, containers, Kubernetes, Rosa, Terraform, Ansible. Yeah. What you doing? Well, I'm about to hit them with this. Yeah, Kubernetes. I'm playing spades. I'm playing Monopoly. Chef, Salt Puppet, GitLab, GitHub. What? You can't talk to me about what? I'm slanging them bitch, boy. I know y'all all do that. I know y'all be sitting there typing and falling asleep and then wake back up like, what was I typing? I know y'all done sat down and read a book. I know y'all done sit down and read a book and be like, and went back to the same paragraph and read it over again. I know you have. I know you have. I know a book done fell on your face. A laptop done fell on your face. I know it has. I know it has. That's what Mario say, the neighborhood hope dealer. It's Mario's line. Again, get a good look at that 35. That's your image. That's your brand. That's who you are. That's how all these other people see you. And look, the average American at 56, the average American. This is your brand. This is who you are. You need to accept this. This is what people think about you. This is how they look at you when you walk in the store. This is how they look at you when you walk into the bank. This is how they look at you when you go on a walk around the neighborhood. That's how they look at you. That's your brand. That's who you are. That's what you have decided the definition of who you are is. That's what you decided. And I keep trying to tell you over here, I don't conform to this. This don't even make sense to me. I don't, and the 200 ain't even on here. And like I said last night, I really think we need to be at 300. But we don't even conform to this. The where is it at? The average American is 56. You ain't even average. You ain't even average. My guy, my girl, you're not even average. They're like, we can't see you. We're going to go ahead and give you this APR 20%. We're going to go ahead and give you this APR 17% because we know your credit is messed up. We know you ain't got no money to invest. We know you're not even doing the basics. We know you don't have a foundation. We know your image is trash. We know your brand is trash. And so therefore, we're going to treat you as such. Why? Because you allow it. Because that's who you are. That's what you want to be. Gen Zers are like, I need 125, my guy. Y'all arguing about 47. And let's be clear, the 47 ain't even average. The 47 is not even average. It's still below average. The 47 ain't even average. And you still arguing about that? Y'all still on that gravy train? Way in the water. Y'all, interesting. Let's get into Gen Zers. Gen Zers said they need a salary of 125 to feel like they made it. A new study found the study of 1,000 workers showed that 58% of the young professionals are unhappy with their current salary. Although Gen Z wants more money, they also tend to prioritize work-life balance. Gen Z is known for shaking up the workplace norms by demanding better salaries, and according to recently released survey, they need higher salaries to feel like they have made it. The invoice software platform Skynova conducted a short survey of 1,000 respondents in the U.S. between the ages of 21 to 42 from 2020 to 2022 to find out about their expected salary expectation. Its study published in 2023 found that 58% of young professionals surveyed were not pleased with their current salary. Just over half of Gen Z workers surveyed, those aged between 21 and 26, said they were dissatisfied with their salary, but 59% of the millennials who were 27 to 42 were also unhappy with their income. The difference can be attributed to the fact that millennials are further along in their careers, which with more experience. Gen Zers survey said they feel like they had made it if they need a and would need a salary of 125. Their millennial counterparts say they only need a salary of 121. All right. On average, both generations wanted an annual salary between 71,000 and 80,000. 88% of the Gen Zs were uninterested in a law profession, despite young lawyers having the highest paid salaries of 150 per Skynova. Gen Z's expectations of successful salary differ from millennials, because they tend to have greater expectations and put a clearly defined price tag on skill set. Chelsea, the co-founder of the talent development company, previously told Insider these expectations stem from economic impact of the pandemic and inflation. Although they're pushing for better salaries, they tend to reject high pressure industries like law and the lack of work-life balance. Gen Z are comfortable with job hopping, which means they're likely to leave roles that are unfulfilling and underpaid. A worthwhile rise, as those who job hop can bank on an 8.5% pay rise, according to the Federal Reserve. And this is from September 2022, right? Which is totally contradictory of what they was talking about last year with job hopping. I mean, last week with job hopping. Tam, that 47K is our staple, is our shield to success. That 47K is our shield to washing off in the cemetery. That is what it is. It is us washing off in the cemetery. In fact, I think I'm gonna make that a theme. I'm gonna make that a thing. I'm gonna figure it out how to put the 47,000 and the cemetery together. Maybe I should put a maybe I should make a tombstone and 47,000 and just have me up here like this. Wakanda forever. Maybe I should do that. 47. Oh, maybe I should. I don't know. But that's the image. 35K is the image, really. Um yeah, Savage Scientist, we gotta get you out of that. If not, you gonna be over there with old girl riding around in a CRV. She might have had a Volvo. I don't remember. I think it was a CRV. All right. So I'm going to talk about some stuff, and then I'm gonna end on a sad note. All right. So I was looking at this. Y'all remember when they were talking about Kroger and I talked about this Kroger and Albertsons. It looked like they don't want to let them combine, y'all. It looked like they don't want to let Kroger and Albertsons merge together. If they merged together, it would have been 700,000. I ain't never leaving Betty alone because I don't understand why she washing off in the cemetery versus washing off at Wendy's. That don't make no sense to me. But I ain't gonna never leave Betty. Betty and Karen, Cause then I get to thinking in my head, what happened to thank you for being a friend? Do 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 do. Travel down the road and back again. Well, she ain't got no friend that she could go right through and be like, girl, I gotta come over and hit these pits. I ain't gonna be here long finna hit the pit. And travel down the road and back again. Do, do, do. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a comfort. Boom, boom, boom. And if you threw a party, and invited everyone you knew. Mm, She ain't got that. And she had kids, girl. Bye. You can't tell me something ain't wrong. Mm-mm. I know she didn't want to be a burden, but she's stressing herself out over there, standing up there. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. I be at my friend's house every day, and my friend would get tired of me. You coming over here to wash? Well, I can't let you in. That's fine. You got a faucet outside. I got a bucket and some soap. Girl, if you don't open up this door, I'm sleeping in your driveway. I ain't finna ride around. Tell me she ride around looking for a place to sleep. Girl, bye. Ain't no way. Like the song, like Aretha say, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. No. All right. So they won't let Albertsons Kroger merger won't likely be consummated. Indicators suggest. They said workers have expressed concern, and rightfully so. While the combined entity promises higher wages, employees cite reduced hours. A recent survey shows a majority are struggling to make ends meet. The dog don't hunt, and insiders seem to know it. Based on the March and April stock sales, most over 50% of their holdings, we we view an opt-ed by Albertsons Kroger CEOs as mild panic. It's likely to backfire, causing markets and regulators to evaluate whether the CEO called myths actually have substance. So it's interesting that they gave the ticker is ACI and they got them on a hold here. And I think this is for Kroger. I think this is Albertsons. Kroger maybe it's Kroger K. Kroger symbol, trade symbol. It's Kroger K. Looks like it is KO, I'm assuming. Is that it? KR. KR. Yep, so they won't let them happen. Which again, all these grocery stores, Publix, Kroger, Albertsons all have IT departments. They all have a cloud strategy. They all have AI involved. They all have all these other things, right? Yeah, your friend won't let you be homeless. The United Food Commerce Workers UFCW is working hard to prevent. Yeah, man. And I understand the why because I understand the why, but I also understand why Albertson and Kroger want to get together. I get it, right? I get it. The land that they were acquired within that, the number of people they were acquired, the face, the whole nine. I get it. I'm sure Publix don't like it. I'm sure Publix is like, nah, son, this ain't it, son. I'm sure. I'm sure of that. All right, layoffs. IBM is set to lay off 8,000 people because of AI. Came out a couple of days ago. Um, IBM plans to replace 7,800 jobs with AI over time and pause hiring for certain positions. You should know there's a big AI component to IBM. Big AI component to IBM. IBM CEO Arvind Krishna, and again we talked about the whole Indian CEOs last night, just showing you these things again of what this looks like and how people are going to get laid off. And again, the U.S. is setting up a relationship with India, and they're bringing Indians over to work at full throttle, full throttle. You just wait, right? Krishna said the hiring in the back office functions like human resources would be suspended or slowed, affecting roughly 26,000 non-customer facing roles. That will include not replacing current roles and roles vacated by attrition. I could easily see 30% of that getting replaced by AI or automation over the next 5 year period. The announcement comes at a time when generative AI chatbots like ChatGPT have stirred anxiety about the future of human jobs. In March, Goldman Sachs released a report estimating the generative AI may expose 300 million jobs to automation, which means those roles will be reduced or replaced by AI. Simultaneously, the nebulous sector of AI has potentially become an easier scapegoat for layoffs and major reorgs. Its impact on jobs is still largely hypothetical. For example, last week Dropbox announced it would lay off 500 employees in a bid to reorganize its workforce to ensure Dropbox is at the forefront of the AI era. But this current hype cycle around generative AI might not be especially different from historical labor market transformations that have taken place due to increasing automation. All right, so IBM laying off, right? 8,000, Dropbox laid off 500,000. What you don't see is people, and just not talk about people still need cloud architects, cloud security, DevSecOps on the back end of all these things. I talked about this yesterday. Go check out yesterday's show about where I think all the different initiatives are. I brought this up. It's not nothing new that I haven't said before, but you might find something interesting out of it. Alfred said IBM Red Hat layoffs is more political than economic. Could be. Yep, because he architected IBM at Red Hat. Yep. Did I see the government roll out activities on AI? Kamala Harris is the new. Yep, I seen that. I get all the updates from Fed Scoop inside the Slack. I don't know if y'all follow that stuff, but that really determines where the market is headed. That determines where the government is going to spend money. It also determines where the jobs are at, and also determines the amount of pay those companies are going to get and what's going on with that. Yep. So here it is right here. The stuff that you're referring about. It is the latest update right here. White House federal agency AI guidelines may focus on pilots and info sharing. Right. That's one. I mean, you can go through here and see tons of information on what the government is doing and who are the contractors are gonna be on those contracts to get that money to do things right. Here right here, um, the National Science Foundation (NSF) is to establish seven new AI research institutes. Seven new AI research institutes. So again, somebody's got to do the research. Somebody's got to build that actual stack in terms of the actual information. So far the list, and let me blow that up some. So far, the list of companies that has signed a commitment to public assessment of their technology: Anthropic, Google, Hugging Faces, Microsoft, Nvidia, OpenAI, and Stability AI. The independent exercise will provide critical information to researchers and the public about impacts of these models, and will enable AI companies and developers to take steps to fix issues found in those models. Right. And Hugging Faces, I think, is combined with Microsoft. I think Hugging Face is combined with Microsoft, but you still got those other companies out there along those AIs as well too, right? Tech workers on Fortune 50 companies talking about unionizing. Mm, we'll see how that works. How is a company growing in double digits and billions of dollars? Talking about layoffs, easily, easily, easily talking about layoffs, easily, right? If we click here on AI, you'll see all the different conversations that are being had. White House wants to understand how employers use automated tools to track staff. Booz Allen Ventures invest into Credo AI. I posted that um, the other week, and here we'll click on that. Booz Allen and tech governance going into AI. Booz Allen Ventures announced Wednesday is invested in responsible AI with the company Credo AI. And you're going to see all these little smaller tech companies, they'll start getting their investments. G7 nations agree a risk-based approach to AI regulation, crack down on discrimination, bias in AI tools, right? Congress gets 40 chat GPT plus licenses to start experimenting with generative AI. Federal government to spending AI hit 3.3 billion in fiscal year 2022, right? The VA, Oracle, like the list goes on, right? So that's all on AI. And again, people are going to have to transform their skill sets, and people are looking for people to help them transform those workers with those skill sets, because we're at a crux where Gen Z may not have the skill sets enough to make the AI, and then who's teaching in college the transformation the government needs for AI, and who's able to make those classes as well. And on top of that, how do you take the people who are already in these jobs, they've been in their jobs 20 years, 15 years, or whatever, and transform them and skill them up? So across the board, everybody is lacking in AI. Hence why there's that big conversation with the attachment to India and bring them over and let them do their thing. You're gonna see more controlled companies like that. I'm just trying to tell you where it's at, where it's happening. It's right in front of your eyes, right? So let's talk about Dave Ramsey. What did Dave say? Dave said, on Money Wise, he asked, somebody called in and asked, is the dollar safe? And Dave Ramsey said, you're spending too much time on the internet. An Alabama man asked Dave Ramsey if he should be worried about the US dollar collapse. Excuse me. And the guru's response was biting. Here's why. So do you think y'all need to be worried about the dollar collapsing? And if the dollar collapses and you can't get your money out of the bank, what are you gonna do? If the dollar collapses and you can't get your money out the bank, what are you gonna do? How are you setting yourself up? How are you setting yourself up? Y'all hold that thought. Let me put your comments in there. What are you gonna do? All right. Let's get into this while y'all thinking about that. And I'm gonna come back. Backpack. Yeah, what you gonna do? If you can't save $100, you don't need to worry about the dollar. Yep. We supposed to have money stashed or cash at our house is buried in the backyard with the gold? All right, here we go. I want to show you this video real quick. Let me pause that real quick. Let me make this bigger. 2000 Let me pause that, and then let me turn this up because we're gonna go back to this conversation, but let's do this.
In 2003, I was practicing law as an attorney. I did a lot of offshore planning and things like that. And so I was on vacation in Europe, and I got a call from my wife who said, don't freak out, but the FBI just raided our law firm. And I was like, those are two sentences that don't really go together. Either they did not raid the law firm and I'm not freaking out, or they did and I am, but WTF. And it was basically a crackdown on the Patriot Act of anybody that had put offshore stuff. I had clients, we did aggressive tax and estate planning and asset protection, and then sent documents to the customers and said, you need to comply with reporting requirements and all that. Well, the IRS, the Justice Department disagreed with that. They're like, it's your job. You knew or should have known that they were doing things they shouldn't have done, and basically came after a whole bunch of attorneys and people that did that kind of stuff, including me. And so I tell people, I say, when I was in law school and I was in crim law class, and I would read United States of America versus, Joe, and I'd be like, man, it must suck to be Joe. And I'm like, you know what? It sucks to be Joe because United States of America versus me. I'm like, really? All the states, even Rhode Island? So I went through the whole thing and basically pled out, went to camp for 5 months, wore a ankle bracelet for 5 months. My wife left me, my partners left me. I lost almost everything. Fortunately, I'm pretty good at asset protection planning, so I didn't lose everything. But I went through that whole thing. And after that, it was, you know what? You never know what might happen, because I never in my life thought that that would happen. I lost my whole faith in what I thought was the legal system. I saw that really it was not about justice. It's about putting people in jail. And then it's like, if you get under that microscope, good luck that you haven't done something. So when I came out of that, I was like, I am going to lead a more balanced life and I'm going to go for it. And on my first date with his mom, she said, I have cancer and, they gave me 90 days to live and I'm coming off of that. I said, no problem. I said, I'm not worried about that. I said, but I'm probably going to jail, because it was in the middle of the whole thing. And she was like, okay. I was like, so I think we're even. I'm like, okay. And 17 years later, we're still together. So, but she has that same thing, because she went in for a spot, I think that was on her skin, and they said, you've got 90 days to live. And she was like, what the fuck? And so both of us have a carpe diem, but it's not a just screw everything carpe diem. It's like, you know what? You need to live for today, and you need to hopefully think that tomorrow is going to come. And so it's a balance of those things.
All right. So why did I show you this? prepare for the worst, right? Prepare for the worst. Asset protection, um, protecting your hedging against the inflation, um, asset protection, protection of your skill sets. That's why I keep encouraging you to get more skill sets. Look at where the market is going so you know how to move. Um, some of you may be invested in maybe an insurance policy, or some of you may be invested in a CD, or some of you may be invested in nothing and like, I'm going to keep cash right here at home in this folder that's in under the bed. Like, I get it, right? All right, so back to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey idea of what happens if the dollar crashes. So here's his thoughts on this. And let me blow this up because it look a little small on here. All right. So it says, ever read the story about Chicken Little and the sky is falling? Americans may be feeling in a similar situation right now when reading about the de-dollarization of the American dollar. Scroll down. At least one Alabama man was concerned enough to ask finance personality Dave Ramsey in his show, asking how worried he should be as countries attempt to move away from the dollar. His response was in usual Dave Ramsey style. You're spending too much time on the internet, Dave Ramsey said. China, Brazil, and Russia are the three main players here. They already don't use the US dollar as their basis of international trade. Here's what you need to know about de-dollarization and what it means for regular Americans. Not a new international currency to replace the USD. While the man from Alabama may have felt embarrassed by Ramsey's directness, the host went on to explain this means there really isn't anything to fear. Granted, the goal of these three countries, as well as some countries potentially from the Middle East, to create their own joint currency, Ramsey stated. Such an idea has brought about interest of some countries, including Saudi Arabia's finance minister Mohammed Al Jadan, who stated the country would be open to the idea. But for a new currency to replace the dollar, it would need significant international uptake. The dollar was on one side of nearly 90% of the foreign exchange trades in April of 2022, according to the Bank for the International Settlements, and estimates from the Fed show that between 1999 and 2019, 90% of the trade invoicing in the Americas, 74% in the Asian Pacific region, and 79% in the rest of the world were carried out in USD. And global trust in dollar remains high. Some Fed report the dollar made up of 60% of the globally disclosed official foreign reserves as of 2021, which the analyst says signifies the currency is expected to hold onto its value in the future without losing too much of its purchasing power. Will this combined dollar devalue the US dollar? While the dollar has reigned supreme over the better part of the last century, other countries have accused the US of weaponizing that power, and countries like Russia, Saudi Arabia, and China are keen to claw back at some of that power. Ramsey points out that similar worries popped up when the European Union put the euro in place. We had this exact same crap when France did away with their own currency. Brexit was the big deal when the UK was going to get involved or not, and the euro is now traded all over Europe, said Ramsey. We went on to state that just as the euro, any new currency would still simply convert to US. And while these countries may be large, they don't take up lots of the GDP, gross domestic product, on a global scale. Goes on to point out the GDP of Texas alone is higher than Brazil, coming in at 2.4 million against Brazil's 1.6 million, according to World Bank. And while China certainly has a large GDP of 17.773 trillion stacked up against 23.32 trillion the US accounts for, there's still a large amount of catching up to do on China's part. When you put them all together, they don't have the muscle to take down the dollar. They just don't. Whatever little currency you create in your fantasy world, you create it over there. You're still gonna trade it for dollars. Fear sells. It's happened before and it will happen again. Unfortunately, Ramsey and his team believe this kind of fear over de-dollarization is merely meant to give views for online news outlet. And finally, answers the second part of the caller's question: should I be concerned about how I'm saving and investing? They reassure him there's no need to change his strategy over the potential new currency. It's not arrogance, it's math. It's not that I'm blind by the flag or patriotism, Ramsey said. It's asinine. If you haven't oh, that's car insurance. Is that right? No, that's a sponsor. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I'm reading the right thing. Okay, I think that was it. And then this is sponsored. Yeah, that's it. So that's what he said. After the dollar collapses, I highly doubt that the rest of the world will want to have another single world currency. The currency wars is coming, and regions are going to compete. Of course, they are. But the issue that's going to remain is, what is the dollar going to look like outside of the U.S.? And then the question is going to be, what does the dollar look like inside of the U.S.? Again, getting that manufacturing, going back to the basics, building cars here, building solar panels here, building chips here, getting the manufacturing jobs. Again, it's 800,000 of them still unfilled. Nobody wants to work them. Somebody needs to work. And we have birth rates that are low, so we don't have any upcoming populations to fill some of the things that could continue on and on and on. So there's something that's going to have to be done, and that's where you see the rise of AI and so forth. Again, everybody can't make a YouTube channel. Everybody can't sit online. Everybody can't drive Uber Black. Everybody can't drive for Uber. Everybody don't. A lot of some people got DUIs. Let's just be clear. Some people got DUIs. Some people don't have cars. Some people don't have the money to get cars. Something has to give. So what I'm saying to you is this: you all are not average. You are above average. You are aiming, and if not already above average, you have the unique opportunity on everything that I just said to create companies, to create placement agencies, to create training, to put people in place. We all can't all do the same thing, but we can all eat off the same plate, right? You may come to the table with generative AI. You may come to the table with finances. You may come to the table with DevSecOps. You may come to the table with being an instructor. You may come to the table with a workout. But we're gonna all sit at the table and we're gonna all eat. It's room out here for all of us. Yeah, Uber is ripping off drivers, right? Yeah, yeah. I got in the Uber Black yesterday. I just wanted to see what the Uber Black was like. He was like, well, first thing, it's not a job, it's a business. This is a lifestyle. And he's like, it takes $15,000 to be an Uber Black. All your cars have to be all black and seven seaters. And that's what happened with that guy that we reported on earlier. But there's different cars that you can get that can be Uber Black. I was just interested in what it looks like. And he's like, well, his drivers do pretty well. He said he pays drivers anywhere from 70,000 to 100,000. And he said he has all the cars, and he rents the cars out to them. So he owns all the cars, and he just rents the fleet out to them, right? I believe the world is going to be more tribal, and you're going to want to hang around you with different currencies and crypto to move out and about. I guess you can use crypto to move in and out of the different countries. So I can see that. But again, the government here, the local states are banning the whole CD. Was it is it CDBC or CBDC for the actual crypto exchanges for the banks. Again, protections is kicking in for the banks as well too. When you start looking at it at a grander scale, you having an individual bank, you probably do better having your own individual credit union than you would having the bank. Right? So just as again a little fear there, I wanted to pull that out, let you see how people are looking at things, right? Let you see how people are looking at things. All right, so um, I saw this article still on the Indian side, right? And I want to bring this to you. It says, and this came out May 5th. Half of India's $40 billion investments in the U.S. went to just two sectors. 40 billion went to just two sectors. What do you think those sectors were? Put in the chat what you think those sectors. What $40 billion did India put into the U.S. and what are those two sectors? I haven't read the article yet. What do you think those two sectors were? Mm-hmm. Let's go. All right. India companies have created 240% more jobs in the US since 2020, an increase of 81%. Let me blow it up in investments. The Confederation of India Industry said the firms have invested more than 40 billion in the US so far, of the 22 billion in 2020, according to the CII report released earlier this week. Higher investments have created employment for 425,000 people, according to the report, from 125,000 people 3 years ago. You'll be working for an Indian company in the US. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All right, so here we go. India business giants, majors such as Tata Consulting Services, Infosys, Wipro, Reliance Industries, and SR have substantially expanded their U.S. operations in recent years. The report, however, doesn't explicitly state the reasons for this spike in 3 years. Again, I'm going to have a partnership with the U.S. And India. I already have these companies established. I'm just going to put people in position of and put them in the companies that we have already established here in the US. I am going to also own the real estate, and I'm also going to own different cities. We're going to create cities and have that here. Don't think this isn't already happening. It is already happening. You're sleeping. This is why you're at the 35,000. This is why, right? Notably, up to 50% of India's investments were focused on the US pharmaceuticals and information technology. I have said this before. All the Indians that I know, they're invested in pharmaceuticals, real estate, and technology. Again, you want to talk about branding, you want to talk about classism, you want to talk about image. When you think about Indians, do you hear bus driver? I just want to know. Have you ever seen an Indian bus driver? It may be some out there. I ain't never seen none. You let me know. When you think about medical field, I think about Indians in the medical field, engineering and real estate. So stop trying to tell me and sell me on this idea of the American dream. We got to get up from the bootstraps. No, you need to be intentional. You need to be intentional. I am telling you, you need to be intentional. If you don't see it, let me read it for you again. Up to 50% of the Indian investments were focused on the U.S. pharmaceuticals and information technology section. How many? They went from 125 to 425,000 people working for Indian companies in 3 years. There's a $40 billion investment that's going to continue to increase once they get the agreement going. If you ain't looking at what's happening, if you're not looking at what your role is going to be, I don't know what to tell you. Texas is a hotbed for Indian investments. Indian companies have invested $9.8 billion in Texas, which also saw most number of jobs created by them of 20,000 or 21,000. It's been the case for years now. You don't say. Given the U.S. wealth of natural resources, its educational infrastructure, and its industries, its tax laws, and other business friendly factors have helped Indian business too. After Texas is Georgia with 7.5 billion, New Jersey 4.2 billion, New York 2.1 billion, Massachusetts 1.4 billion, follow in the terms of attractiveness they hold for Indian companies. Not only do they hold for Indian companies, if you don't peep where it's at, Texas, Georgia, real estate. Texas, Georgia, real estate. New Jersey, people left New Jersey. People went in with money and started building companies and putting people back in there. New York, the center for everything, right? Massachusetts, when you think Massachusetts, Boston, and you think New York, you need to be thinking financial districts. Don't think North Carolina ain't on that map either. Don't think North Carolina ain't on that map, right? I'm just giving you the blueprint of what's already taking place. Either you're gonna get in the game or you're not in it at all. If you're gonna sit on the sideline, shut the hell up. If you're gonna sit on the sideline, shut the hell up and let who want to work. Let who want to build. Shut the hell up. Sit on the sideline, eat your ramen noodles, get your check, do your YouTube, get your $500, whatever that case may be. Leave us the hell alone and let us work. We out here trying to get we out here making generational wealth, building, moving mountains, getting people in place. If not, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear no more about no 47,000. I don't give two flying fucks. I mean that. I mean that. I don't want to hear that. If you're gonna come over here, if you're gonna be in this group, if you're gonna be around us, we working on millions. We always talk about it. I'm giving you 10 years to get, I'm showing you 10 years to get to a million or 2 million. And I'm just being simple winner. It's just simple math for me. 100,000 for 10 years, 200,000 for 10 years. Get your skills up, make your investments, create your foundation, put your stuff over in here into into investing, whether you're gonna do real estate, REITs, whatever the case may be. But if you ain't on that train and you like if you over here talking about where everybody, I don't know them. They ain't in our crew. Shut up and let us work. It's just what it is. We don't have it's over. If these stats don't set you off and put you in a wide open, your eyes are wide open, you see how people move. Nah, I know this may be offensive to some people. Sorry if some kids are watching, but I mean what I mean. I mean what I say. I don't want to see us on the next TikTok then. Bada yada yeah. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. All I want to hear is got him, seal the deal. We got this new joint. Seal the deal. We brought down a million. Seal the deal. Got my 100,000. Seal the deal. I got this. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear us working. I want to know what your blueprint is, how you going to map that out, how have you mapped that out, who do you know in that area, what we doing. That's it. Sign up for your coaching calls. Sign up for your coaching calls. Sign up for your coaching calls. Attend the meetups. This is what do we do. I don't know. I don't know. D, what you think? What you thinking, D? Yeah. Our children got it out the trust. I need to put my shirt back. I got it out the trust. We're not getting it up out the mud. I don't want to hear us talking about getting up out the mud of nothing. If we getting it out the mud, it's the mud on the land that we own. That's what it is. I got it out of the mud on the land that we own out of the trust. Period. Right? Says in terms of jobs, Texas was followed by New York with 19,000. The report said overall, Indian firms created up to 35,000 remote jobs in the U.S. Most of the Indian companies have plans to expand further and invest more, hire more employees over the next 5 years. And the report said, and I don't know, somebody was on the live last night. They was like, working with the Indian company, you got to have two. You got to make sure two Indian people are on the team at all times, right? Yeah, you got to be intentional, right? I'm gonna make sure I do my part. I show up every week, I bring you stuff, I show you how you do it, I show you who the people are, I connect the dots for you. You gotta execute. I can't execute for you. I gotta execute for myself. I got my own damn family to worry about. I can't execute for you. I can bring you stuff, I can show you how to get there, I could put you in the room. You got to execute once you're in that room. If you don't execute when you're in the room, this I failed you on some level. I'll take responsibility for that. But once I put you in the room, I'm expecting great things from you. Yes, my expectation of you is high. Yes, my expectation of your image and your brand is high. It should be higher than my expectation of you should be, and your own expectation you should be much higher than what I'm expecting. I'm expecting excellence. Does it sound like pressure? Sure. Does it sound like pressure? Absolutely. Do I care? No. I'm expecting excellence when you show up. I'm expecting you to succeed. I expect nothing less. I'm not your mama. I'm not your daddy. I'm not your grandmama. But I will demand that from you. I demand it of myself. I demand it from Dion, and she'll tell you. She was like, I'm so tired of you. Whatever, whatever. She was like, I can't deal with you right now. I said, well, call me when you're ready. I'ma still put that pressure on you. I do that to my cousin. I do that to everybody around. I'm gonna apply pressure. That's who I am. That's what I know to do, because I know you can do more than what is presented in front of you. There's no reason why that chart should have said 35,000. There's no reason why we should be sitting here arguing about somebody who's a millionaire dating a bus driver, whether that be 50,000, 100,000, whatever the case may be. I don't care. It's all kind of scenarios that came up. Well, what if the bus driver owned a car rental and blah blah blah? All the scenarios came up. All the different scenarios came up. All the different scenarios came up. All the hogwash came up. All of that came up, and I looked at it, and I was like, man, I can't believe that we're actually having this conversation about this when I'm looking at stats like this, and it's mind boggling to me. It doesn't even make sense to me. Right? It doesn't even make sense to me. All right, so let me grab this one other thing. And well, since we're there, let me pull this up since we're there, since we're talking about it. And oh, I might not have saved it. Did I save it? Let me look. Yeah, I did. Okay, I did. I asked her, could I use this on the channel? Some men may be offended by this, but this is not the what this is. That's not. I have a friend who. That's not the intention here. The intention is to show you what I see when I'm talking to people who are millionaires and people who are in the business, like conversations like that we have online is it doesn't even it doesn't even cross their mind about having a conversation like that. It's not even cross their mind. All right, so I'm gonna play this. It's 3 minutes long. Um, and this is her asking one of her millionaire friends about the situation. And I can give you my perspective on. I wouldn't even personally. I wouldn't go to any of my millionaire friends and ask them this question. Let me tell you why I wouldn't ask them this question, because they wouldn't even have the mental capacity to even understand what I'm asking them. They were like, I don't even understand why you're asking this question. The first day they would be like, well, what kind of family does this person come from? And I'm bring up two other things too that I wanted to show. I wanted to highlight. Kudos to these two sisters on two different planes. But I'm gonna bring them up. But I just want to give you, and they're both immigrants. I want to give you what immigrants, and this is really truly one of those things, are doing, whether they're from India, whether they're from Africa, pick a country in Africa, whether they're coming over from England or the UK. You're getting outworked, and I've been saying this for years. You're getting outworked. So either are you gonna get in, or you gonna sit on the sideline. And if you sit on the sideline, put some duct tape on, because I don't want to hear it. I just don't. All right, so let's get into it.
I have a friend who is a business owner and a millionaire, and she had some things to say, and I'm going to read her perspective. She says, your choices are your choices because you have to live with them, good, bad, or even ugly. As for me, I've always dated for class and values. I've never dated for race.
Boom, class and values. All right, so we're gonna stop it right there. We're gonna finish it, but I'm gonna stop it right there because I want to bring this up, that of what I was looking at. I've seen it before, but I went back. I was going back through it. I was going back through this video of this young lady who is from Gambia, and she came to the U.S. in a different fashion. Um, Let me pull this up, and we're gonna talk about some things here, right? All right. So the story is she was sleeping on the dirt floor, and now she's making $80,000 a month in passive income. She comes from Gambia. Now, I'm gonna give a brief overview of her, and the story is 58 minutes long. I advise you to go back and watch it. Anyway, she came from Gambia. She had I think her mother passed away, but because I think she was like, I don't know, 12, 13, between 12 to 15, I forget the age range. Her her family had already picked out who she was going to marry, and she had all she they picked out her husband. Her aunts had to fight for her to go to school because she was on her way to get married and have two kids. She's like, all her friends, I guess she about around about 15, 16, were already married and working on having their children from where she comes from, right? But her aunts and them had to fight for her to go to school, right? So they fought for her to go to school. She ended up going to school, ended up eventually through a lot of different things, ended up in America, and they told her if she did go to America, she had to be a doctor. She didn't have an option, and she was like she didn't like blood, so she kind of stumbled upon computer science, right? Um, cool story, but what I want to highlight is her life was already planned for her. Her intentions of what she was gonna do, what she was gonna be, what she was gonna do. She's like, in our African community, we have to be doctors or engineers. We don't have options. That's what we have to do. And she was like, and I can't talk back to my aunts, and I most definitely can't talk back to my uncles, right? And she says this in her video. Let me see. Give you a glimpse of it. To kind of start talking about her right here. She gets into her story. So let's pick up right here.
I'm from West Africa, a small country called the Gambia, West Coast. It's by Senegal, a little country inside Senegal, literally. So it's about 2 point something million. I'm the seventh child of my family. And yeah, I grew up in that small village. I lost my mom when I was 2, and I lost my dad when I was 11. So I was raised by my elder sister. And yeah, there's a little background about me.
So what was it like growing up there? Most of us have not traveled to the continent of Africa, much less where you're from. Tell us a little bit about what daily life was like.
Yeah, so it's more of, we live in extended family. So when my mom passed, I was 2. When my dad passed, before my dad passed, he was really sick. So my sister was forced to get married. So she took me with her, and my elder brother was like 4 or 5 years older than me. So I grew up as an orphan in her in-laws' house. Yeah, it was hard growing up in in an extended family that you don't belong in, because usually we live in families. So let's say a family member, like a husband has maybe 4 wives or 5 wives, and they have kids. So that household is all, let's say the last name is Green. It's like Green Kunda, meaning everybody in the house is Green. So you coming in with a different last name, it's like you don't belong. There's some activities that you will not participate in because you're not a child of that household.
So it was clear growing up from an emotional standpoint, you were...
So again, when we start talking about classism, image, branding, elitism, all these things play out throughout your life. They all play out throughout your life, right? And we sitting up here saying that, well, no, we're gonna get them free of choice. No, Black people, I'm sorry, it's time. All your kids need to be going into STEM in some form or fashion. Lawyers, engineers, doctors. That's it. I want to make a YouTube channel, mommy. That's nice. Make a YouTube channel about you going to law school. Yeah. Make a YouTube channel about you going to law school. I'm just trying to tell you, we got to get serious. That's my take. That's where I'm at. And going from there. But I wanted to show you that, because in here, right here, when she says, as for me, I always dated for class and values. I never dated for race. I never dated outside of my class or my class aspiration. Aspiration was and still is one of my core values. It is also one of the family's core values. It also, I mean, that being said, at my big age, should I start dating again, it will probably would not be a bus driver. Not that there's anything wrong with the career. However, I am still on ascent. I absolutely need synergy and energy to fuel my ascent. It makes my ascent faster, right? Over here, she's already lost her parents. And then her sister got married at a young age, and then she had to go into and move into the house with her sister. And the guy she married had got 4 or 5 wives, and he got kids, and so she a kid going over there and playing their little world, and they like, you an outsider. You're an outsider. So let's get back to it.
In a sense in the house. I mean, they knew who you were, but you were not welcome with open arms as if you were one of the kids. There was preferential treatment. You had at a very young age, you had to experience a lack of control and the pain that comes from not really having control over the outcome of your own life.
Yes, basically.
So, I mean, you were thrown into a situation you had very little control. Sounds like there was a lot of pain. Did you have your own room? Were you sharing a room with other people? What was that like?
No, so sometimes I would come in, like as a child, just playing with other kids outside, and I just run in to go drink water, and there's a meeting about me and my brother being returned. So I always thought, oh, so we don't belong here. And it really hurts as a child. I saw this meme saying on TikTok the other day, and it clicked to me. I was like, this is how it feels. Like, you don't know what pain is until you live in somebody's house who doesn't really want you there. And I was like, that was me. That clearly explained my life. So I wasn't allowed to sleep on the bed, so I would lay on the floor. And when I say floor, I mean like sand floor, not like cement, not like carpet or anything. So me sleeping on the floor, an 8-year-old, 9-year-old girl, I would have bed bugs. Sometimes worms would come and they would touch me, and I'll just wake up. So my brother made me this flashlight, you guys call it here. And I just use batteries there. And at night, I'll just wake up and I'll kill the bed bugs on the wall. So I guess from there, I was always obsessed with houses because I never really have my father's house. Sometimes when I visit for holidays, we would not eat sometimes. Sometimes we eat once a day. And sometimes when I go one time, it was the rainy season, the summer holidays. And we would have to get up because the water was coming inside the house. That's how poor we were. So even though the family that I lived with are not rich, still a village, but it's a better village where it's better than my dad's condition.
Yeah.
So
Right, so I could go on with this one. What I'm pointing out is you are arguing about 35,000 a year for coming from where she coming from, and here in the U.S. and making her way through all the different things. She's making 80,000 a month, and you will sit on the sideline and argue. Right? That's just one. I'm gonna bring up one more. Let me go back and get it. Let me pull it up. All right, this one here. Of course, she's African. She's built a $220 million real estate empire here in the States. So again, Sim, you be trying it. Again, I'm pointing out people, immigrants coming over and outworking you, and you've been here all your life. That's just really bottom line. Outworking you, and you've been here all your life. Are there subsidies and things that have helped? Absolutely, but we can't worry about what has helped. We have to worry about what we can control. Right? Worry about what you can control. What can you control? Right? Let's get into this one real quick, and then we'll go from there.
All right, welcome back to another incredible episode of Rants and Gems. This is Matt Garland, NMLS number 58700, better known as MG, the mortgage guy. We are live. We are blessed. Thank God for another day. Look, so we're on location right now, y'all, and we are in Newark, New Jersey, a.k.a. Brick City. So I'm sitting with the one and only Adina Bayo, who embodies the American dream. At the age of 13, you escaped civil war in your native country, Liberia, immigrated to the United States, and now is one of the most successful entrepreneurs in your home state of New Jersey. You own restaurants, you're a landlord, a developer, not to mention being a one-woman economic engine.
Yeah.
Jeez. Adina is now the owner of 8 restaurants, including 4 IHOP franchises, 3 cornbreads from the farm to the soul, 1 Brick City vegan with 2 more locations on the way, and you have a real estate portfolio of over $220 million. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Adina Bayo to the show. Adina, what's up, girl?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I said a lot right there. Did I miss anything out?
No, I think you covered everything.
I think I covered
Pretty
it.
good.
Pretty good. Okay.
Pretty good.
You have more locations on the way in the restaurant.
Yeah, we do. We're going to Montclair, and we're going to do more Brooklyn store, because Brooklyn love us.
And shout out to Brooklyn. If you're in Brooklyn, make sure you got the cornbread in Brooklyn, right?
Cornbread, Eastern Parkway, yeah.
And we're going to put all of this in the description of the video because I want you guys to support these restaurants, whether you're in New York, Jersey, Connecticut. You guys in Connecticut come to New Jersey and New York all the time. So make sure you guys support your franchise. So we'll put all that in the description of this video. But first of all, we're in one of your properties right now, which is a 84 residential mixed-use property, which you developed from the ground up.
Yeah.
Which is located right here downtown, and it's right across the street from City Hall.
Yeah, right across the street.
Like literally, we could look out the window right here.
City Hall is right there, yeah.
First of all, I got a lot of questions. How the hell did you go from buying 3 family properties to now developing and having a $220 million real estate portfolio? Take us on that journey. Like, when was your first deal in real estate?
2000, 2001. I bought my first 3-family house in Irvington, New Jersey.
Okay.
And it was a 3-family house. I was right out of college. And I rented out the top floors and I lived on the first floor.
Okay.
So right there, I had 2 people that was paying them the rent, and I was at the first floor. I was working at the bank at the time, and because I had people on the first and second floor, third and second floor, I had my income from my job to kind of play Monopoly.
Mm.
And I just kind of started saving and buying 3, 2, 4 families in Irvington, Newark, East Orange, just building up a real estate portfolio.
I ain't gonna finish that. I was just bringing you all the things that I see. Again, school, college, get the job, make the money work for you, invest. You have the blueprint. You need to execute. All right. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else on here that I wanted to leave off with. I thought this was interesting. And then we'll leave off with Warren Buffett. All right. I thought this was interesting. All right. So I was playing around on the internet looking up stuff. And I thought this was interesting because everybody always say you get married in college. Right. Let me tell you how my college went. And when I was in college, we partied. It wasn't really a lot of people in the engineering space. But I was already married when I was doing my engineering stuff. But when I first got to college, you had your general ed, this, that, and other. But you don't really if you're in a commuter school, you're not really there to talk and congregate with people. You there to go to school, get out of school, go to work. If you were like me, you were working and going to school. You ain't had time to sit up there and play. I'm gonna be over to your dorm room and or whatnot, and we gonna hang out or whatnot. Now we did do some of that because we had breaks in between classes, and I didn't want to just hang out at the school, so I would go with some of the girls over to their dorms and hang out with them. But then I stopped hanging out with them because they was like, hey, we coming over here, we about to smoke. I'm like, smoke? I gotta go back to class, girl. No. And then you gonna smell like weed too? Girl, I ain't doing that. And they was like, and then once we get done smoking, we're gonna get something to eat. I'm like, well, it's gonna be class time. Well, we may not go back. I was like, well, y'all, I can't hang out with y'all. I'm here to get this education. I got things to do. This ain't it. He's like, girl, you got all your life. No, you don't. You don't have all your life. You don't have all your life. You got to be strategic. Hey, Terrell, how you doing? Set up D has to open up the one-on-one. I know this week I'll be in Florida. So one-on-one would probably be tomorrow. Probably be the safest bet, or Tuesday. The rest of the week, no. We'll probably do some live streams from the event in Miami as well. So I'll let y'all know about that one most definitely. I'm gonna take some shots, some screenshots. We're gonna do some interviews and go from there. All right. So major marriage metrics. This came out in 2017. There is an updated version of this. I'm still going through it. Quite interesting. It says how your major affects your marriage rate. How your major affects your marriage rate. Quite interesting. I found it that your major could affect your marriage rate, right? It says if you like to get married, it looks big on screen here. If you like to get married and wonder why you're attending a lot of weddings just not your own, we here at Zipper may have an answer you need. Our research shows the reason may be that you should have just settled on a different major, not partner. Our analysis of the latest census data shows that your major in college serves as a predictor of when you will be married, even controlling for income and gender, which incidentally and independently are correlated to the age at which you marry. Dia set that up for you. Dia set that up. Make sure you join the Slack channel for that, for more information. All right. And then the one-on-one channel in particular for the Slack channel. So if getting hitched early is a priority for you, there are a few things you can do besides finding a suitable partner. Major in education, make more money, and be a woman. All right. All right. So here we go. It says we've got a complete alphabetical list at the bottom for you of what you should major in and then get married. Now, this is from 2017. There's a newer one out, but let's go with the 2017 one. I don't know if you ever wondered or watched a romantic comedy or sitcom, but eventually you'll have to get married by the time you're 30. And according to U.S. Census data, the median age in the U.S. for a man to marry is 29 and approximately 27 for a woman. Now, this was from 6 years ago. Who knows when this became a thing or what happens if you're hitched by then, you turn into a pumpkin or something, I think. But for whatever arbitrary reasons the societal construct developed, we used the census data from 2011 to 2015 to populate our sample growth with criteria. Had a college degree, 30 years old, and had at least 10 occurrences of the major for men and women. All right, so we analyzed the results to determine which majors are most likely to be married at 30 years old, and in doing so, uncover some interesting trends. All right, your marital status is definitely correlated to your major. Drop your majors in the chat. Drop your majors in the chat. Drop your majors in the chat. I'm computer engineering. Drop your majors in the chat. And now I'm gonna see if your major comes up on here. I'm gonna see if your majors come up, or drop your majors in the chat and let's see what's the percentage and likely that you should have gotten married based on your major. Let's go. I'm computer engineering. Let's see what we got out here. HS is HS high school or HS health sciences, Afri? Political science. Drop your majors in the chat. Let's see what's the likelihood of your major being married. This gonna be juicy. This is juicy. I always know I got something petty. T got a little petty in there somewhere in there. Had to bring it out. All right, let's go. We got some majors in here. All right. Let's go. Okay, studies have shown that you're more likely to marry someone with your major than any other major, but beyond that, your likelihood of being married is also directly correlated to what you study in undergrad. We ran an OLS regression in R to control for income and gender variation. This is talking about stats, and found a strong correlation between your major and your marriage rate. All right, so it's coming up a little blurry, but I'm going to make it a little bigger so you can see it there. It won't get any bigger. But they got the stats below. Okay, so the ones that are most likely to get married are the teachers. And so that anything with teacher education, then animal sciences, microbiology, elementary education, mathematics, medical technology, theological, I should say, and religious vocations, plant science, and agronomy, agronomy, physical and health education, family and consumer sciences, miscellaneous education, and look, no, none of the engineering stuff show up on here. Now, here's what I think engineering comes in right here. Under computer and information sciences, information systems, that is right about a 70% right there. So let's go down here. Could it simply be that personality traits and priorities that lead you to your academic career also have an impact on major life decisions? Probably. It is likely that your major directly influences your career choice, leading you to meet others who have similar values. That's likely too, but we're just talking about your major choice and marital status. All right, so let's go. Women are significantly more likely to be married at 30. Maybe it's the rom com influence, not that men don't appreciate a good Catherine Heigl movie from time to time because their fairer sex is significantly more likely to be married at 30. The most married major and gender combinations at 30. It says men who follow plant science and agronomy were 90% to be married. Females who study animal sciences were 88% to be married. Females who studied miscellaneous education, 84%. Business economics and computer and information systems, 84% for miscellaneous. Business economics, 81%, but computer information systems, 80%. 80%. So you engineers out there, it's an 80% chance you could be married. 80%. Based on that. Now, if you don't want to major in anything around computer information systems, cool. However, those that study animal, this is from 2017, this is probably changed. And anybody that studied business economics, any female that studied business economics, 9 times out of 10, 81% of you being married. Religious and vocations. Now check it out. Electrical engineering, you got 78%. Elementary education, 75%, and social science or history education, 75%. These right here majors are tied to marriage according to their data, right? According to their data. Now let me look up what some of you business management would. Let me see. Would business management would that fall under business economics? Could that fall under that? Let me look. Let me go back up and see if they had anything business management on here. Mm, I don't see business management. I do see business education though. You may fall under that, right? You may fall under that. All right, so let's go back down here. Who else we got in here? We got electrical engineering. So SIM, electrical engineering for the women, it was 90%. For the men, you ain't on here. I don't know. I don't know how to look at that, Sim. Sim, I don't know. You may have to switch it out. You may have to switch it out. All right, so let's go. Chemical engineering, they didn't have it for the men. Political science for women. Let me see. Political science. Um, is because political science considered a social science or history teacher? That's 75%. Heather, music. You're not on here, Heather. Heather? You not on the list. I don't know. Is that considered a social science? I don't know. I don't think so. I think music is just music, but you're not on the list, Heather. Um, Let me see. Biology, not on here, but I don't know if that I wouldn't consider biology a social science. I would consider just a regular science. And I don't know what falls under miscellaneous education. I don't know what's falling under miscellaneous education. All right. Interdisciplinary studies, and my husband is in communications. I don't see that on here. All right, hold on. Let's go here. You can see that with one notable exception of male plant science majors. I'm gonna click on that. The top 10%, the top 10 most married major and gender combinations are female. If you find yourself asking how is it possible that women are married that much more than men, like who are they marrying, consider a few things. The report only includes individuals with college degrees who are 30. The women in our study may simply be marrying men without degrees or men of a different age. This is even probable given that the median age for married women is slightly lower for men, and both genders have about the same level of bachelor's degree attainment. 33% for women and 32% for men. More money equals more marriage. Say it again. More money equals more marriage. Say it ain't so. More money equals more marriage. I don't write it. It's just here written for me and I'm just reporting. Simply put, for every dollar you make, the more likely to be married. Because income is tied to what you major in, we wanted to ensure that our majored focus results weren't unduly impacted by wages. In the process of controlling for income, we also found that your probability of being married at 30 is directly correlated to your income as well, right? Consider the inverse implications of that. Not only does more money make you more likely to be married, being married also means you're more likely to have an higher income. Assuming that income is tied to career advancement, this flies in the face of common beliefs about marriage. Compare this to those who think marriage makes managing finances easier. So here we are. Here's is financial stability and career investment affected, and then down here, the percentage of people who think marriage makes life easier. Here they're showing stability with marriage, and then single, and it comes out. I guess this is the percentage of people who think marriage makes it life easier. Let's get down here to it. Pew Social Trend study showed that both married and single people believe that single makes career advancement easier at 22% of the married people and 32% for the single people. And they're wrong. 10 majors most likely to be married. They gave you that. Teacher, animal science, microbiology, elementary education, mathematics teacher. There you go, Heather. Mathematics teacher. Medical technology technicians, um, theology and religious vocations, plant science, physical education, and family and consumer science. We saw that theology and religious vocations were at the top of the 25-year old range, but by 30, largely seeing a reshuffle of the 25-year-old group. Teachers overtake the religious folks. We also got animal science majors coming from out of nowhere to almost lead the herd with microbiology and plant sciences types breaking the top 10. Presumably, all of this studying of life makes them want to settle down and make some. 10 majors, the least likely to be married. Geography, not tied to money. General social sciences, pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences and administration, international relations, mass media, drama and theater, geology, music, communication technologies, and philosophy and religious studies. Right? Geography majors are apparently focused on too much on the aisles to pay attention to walking down the aisle. Those drama kids are still out there, Rolling Stones, still seeking their names and shining lights. But maybe it's time to get real with the arts, guys. Film and photographic arts majors have the second highest unemployment, and fine arts majors have the third highest unemployment. So, based off our data, this could be why. This could be the why too. Our overall findings is a nuptial shell. What we see is that certain majors tend to marry early, particularly ones dominated by women. So the takeaway is that if you want to be married by 30, make more money, study education, and be a woman. That's what they came up with. But the key is make more money. It didn't say go be a housewife. Petty T strikes. petty T strikes, make more money, study education. I'm going to correlate to that to get your skills up and be a woman. That's it. That's it. That's it. All right, we're going to end on this. Let me see. Let me pull it up. That's not what I want to talk about. Right here is what I want. Right here. Right here. Last but not least, Apple hands Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, a $214 million payout uh, uh, ahead of the shareholder weekend. $214 million. Um, Warren Buffett could be the recipient of a few extra high fives walking into Berkshire Hathaway annual general shareholder meeting this weekend, thanks to the conglomerate's number one holding, Apple. The tech giant Apple, up 4.69 late Thursday, reported forecast beating the second quarter revenues and earnings, thanks to a rebound in the iPhone sales, even better for Berkshire Hathaway, which first bought Apple in 2016. Was the news that Apple was lifting its dividend by 4%. I'm an Apple. Stick with Apple for now. Stick with Apple. Ride it out. Right. Berkshire is the second largest institutional holder with 895,136 shares, according to FactSet. Apple upped its quarterly dividend by 24 cents, roughly 214 $14.83, for 214 83 million in the pockets of Berkshire Hathaway. The tech company also said it was boosting its buyback program by 90 billion. In an annual letter to shareholders in February, the 92-year-old Buffett said one big lesson investors need to remember was that the weeds, whether away in significance as flowers bloom over time, it just takes a few winners to work wonders. He said Apple buybacks at the end of last year had increased the company's ownership. The math isn't complicated. When the share count goes down, your interest in many businesses go up. Buffett wrote, every small bit helps if repurchases are made at a value accretive prices. Set to walk away even richer than the last dividend payout is the $8 trillion investment advisor Vanguard Group. Apple's biggest shareholder, according to FactSet, holds 1.2 million shares, which is $291.6 million payout. Buffett admits to selling a bit of Apple once the tax standpoint, but called that a dumb sell in an interview CNBC last month, as he explained a key reason for holding the stock. If you're an Apple user and somebody offers you $10,000, but the only proviso is that they'll take away your iPhone, you'll never be able to buy another. You're not going to take it, he said. And I don't know whether then when I look at my iPhone, I don't know whether it's some little guy inside that's doing something. I don't know the technical specs at all, but I know that at Nebraska Furniture Mart, if we don't have Apple product, people leave the store. In some places, he said. The iPhone maker comprises of roughly 39% of Berkshire's portfolio. 39% of his portfolio. If he invested in it, and he's one of the wealthiest, he's not the wealthiest, but one of in the United States and possibly the world, why wouldn't you invest in it? I'm just saying. The shares Apple were up 2% in the pre-market trading and are up 7% for this year amid a general rebound for tech shares from last year. Berkshire shares have gained more than 4% over the last year. Berkshire's second biggest position is Bank of America, which has tumbled 18% amidst 2023 amid the persistent banking crisis that has reemerged and hit regional lenders hard this week. Investors and shareholders in Omaha, Nebraska this weekend, where Berkshire will also release its latest results, will likely be looking out for what one of the world's most closely watched investors has to say about the latest ripples. While Berkshire has scaled bank holdings of big lenders in recent years, the conglomerate was still holding a few. Troubles for the sector appeared to come for a time when we spoke to CNBC early in April, Buffett did come across wary. We're not through with bank failures, he said. Right? Again, $214 million payout. They're holding their investors conference this weekend for Berkshire Hathaway. There will be some live streams going on with that as well too. Again, you are being outworked in the market. You are also being outworked and from a standpoint of investing. What are you going to do to change it? We don't talk about 47K over here. I don't know what that means unless that's 47,000 you investing. Then we can have a conversation. Other than that, I want y'all to have a good day. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share this information out. Again, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Your image, your brand, your class is everything. People date within their class. People date within who they are in proximity to. And if you're in proximity to people who are making millions, then that is that's who you're probably gonna be ended up most likely dating in that realm. Get into different rooms. Stop being shy. If you're not with this program, sit on the sideline. Let me know if you need some duct tape. I'll mail it to you so you can put it on your mouth while we all get busy. All right. Until then, catch you next week.